for joining us on The Skeptic Psychic, where we delve into ancient societies, the ghosts, the paranormal, UFOs, all looking at it from the perspective of the true believer and from the skeptic perspective. Joining me, my partner, my co-host, my sibling, Kimber Rodriguez. Myself, I am Richard Gregg. And again, let's look into being the skeptic psychic.
Welcome once again to the Skeptic Psychic. I'm, of course, your host, Richard Gregg. And with me today is the most wonderful, talented, and extraordinary best sibling I've ever had in the entire universe, Kimber Rodriguez.
Hey, how are you this week?
I'm doing fine. How are you this week?
Well, kind of been a little down. It's been a hectic month, and
Oh, you better tell Bruce to don't let him pull him down. Don't let
yes,
me down. Bruce.
yes, we've had some things happen that we've lost some people, so it has been hard. But my thoughts go out to the family if they're watching, and sending my love. And hi, Raymond, glad you're here this week. How are you?
He's fair to Billy with a slight chance of rain and possibly
Yes. Well, we have lost a few celebrities. First, Raquel Welch passed away.
followed by
And
Stella Stevens.
yes,
And then we also lost the Bez baby.
the Baz baby.
The Bez baby.
Who's the Baz baby?
No, not Bez baby. It's the Bez, comma, baby.
And who was that?
Richard Belzer.
Yes.
That was back when he was a stand-up comedian, which I thought he is a very excellent comedian.
It's really interesting because, like, I only know him from Law and Order as
Hmm.
this, really tough cop and stuff. And it's hard for me to picture him doing stand-up comedy because in my mind, I see that character that he plays on Law and Order. And so when I read he was a stand-up comedian, it just kind of took me by surprise because, I wouldn't have
Yeah,
expected that from him.
he actually was doing stand-up comedy. Retired from stand-up comedy because he had brain cancer.
Oh my goodness.
And then he went into remission and joined the cast of Law and Order.
Interesting. I never knew that.
Yes, but I remember
Yeah.
him as always the Bez.
Interesting. I'll have to look
He
up
was
some of his stand-up.
okay. Do you remember that movie with Michael Keaton, Henry Winkler, Night Shift?
I never saw it.
Okay, he played one of the bad guys in that.
Uh,
Uh, Let me see here. I may have to maybe later. I have to show you some of his stand-up. He was a pretty funny actor. He was more or less a mixture of Andrew Dice Clay and uh, I wouldn't say sarcastic like Clay, but he was almost if Andrew Dice Clay and Dennis Leary, would marry a set of twins, their kid would be probably
okay. I'll have to look up some of his stand-up.
yeah. He was actually one first couple of episodes of the original Saturday Night Live.
I'll have to look him up.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. If you're watching us on YouTube, we ask that you like and subscribe and hit the notifications so you know when we're showing new live videos or other videos are posted. If you're watching us on Twitch, we also ask that you subscribe so you can see when we're on. We also ask that you join our Facebook group, which is the Skeptic Psychic, a great fun place for people to hang out and talk about all things. You don't have to believe to join, just be nice.
Yes.
And we also post recordings through Apple Podcast and other places where you can find podcasts. If you're listening to a replay on Apple Podcasts, we do ask that you rate and review. And what kind of reviews do we like? We like 5 stars.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We would love 10, but it only goes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hello, David. Long time no see. How you been?
Hi, David. So glad you could join us tonight. But yes, we do like 5 stars, but we'll take anything you give us.
We prefer 10, but we only have 5 fingers on our one hand. So
if you do leave a review, I'm sorry, if you leave a rating, please leave a review so that way we can read it on air. And what are we talking about tonight?
We are talking about the wonderful, some say it's a myth, some say it's reality, some say it's a dream spirit. We're talking about the Navajo legends of Skinwalkers.
Yes. Are we going to talk about the time that the Ghost Adventurers went out and smoked a bunch of peyote to try and catch Skinwalkers?
We're going to leave that in the past.
Oh, we're not going to talk about how they got high on peyote.
Yeah, because, you really don't trust anything that you do on peyote.
Oh.
I mean, you look at that one scene in Young Guns Part 2 where they go riding through the was it Young Guns or Young Guns 2 where they went riding through the Indian village and Billy the Kid and Doc Sherlock were all kind of tripping.
Yeah, I think it might have been Part 2, but yes. Okay. Yeah, they did show on that episode of Ghost Adventures, though, where they were tripping out.
The Wendigo scared him.
Yes. Sorry, I just got a message from Shelly, our researcher. She's like, isn't there a podcast tonight?
Yes, Shelly,
so I'm letting her know tonight. We are on now.
And we look like we have somebody else here. Who is our wonderful hello? And it's love you bring, the show like a knife when you sing. Even the birds that fly.
Yes. So yes, tonight we are talking about the Skinwalkers. Sorry for that interruption. I was just messaging Shelly the link so that she could join us.
Okay.
And so why don't you kick it? Oh, Jackie Gardner. Hi, Jackie. I'm so glad you could join us, and I hope you enjoyed tonight. Jackie is a great person that I met also through Ghost Study years ago. And somebody I'd like to talk to about possibly being on our show sometime and telling us about her experiences that she's had.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we kick it off tonight about the Navajo?
Yes.
Yes. As David says, sorry to interrupt you. As David says, being a Native American, we have strong beliefs in the Skinwalkers and Wendigos. Yes, even though I'm white as snow, I do actually come from Native American. On my mother's side, there was a Native American shaman, which we believe is where we got our gifts from. And on my father's side, my great-grandfather was half Chiricahua Apache, same tribe as Geronimo. So we take a lot of these traditions and beliefs to heart and respect it all. And we hope that we are able to provide this information in a respectful way tonight. So I apologize for interrupting you. Go ahead and kick it off.
Toss, 1, 2. Okay. In many Navajo legends, a skinwalker is a person with a supernatural ability to turn any creature they desire. To be able to transform, legend sometimes requires that the skinwalker wears a pelt of the animal. In most cases, this pelt is not used in modern times because it's an obvious sign of being skinwalkers. It's a common theme found throughout cultures all over the world and is referred to as shifting by anthropologists. Practitioners of witchery are people who have received supernatural powers by breaking a cultural taboo. Upon initiation, a person is said to gain the power to become a skinwalker, which means with he who goes on all fours in the Navajo language. This is done via a dance song ceremony used to cures instead of heal. Oh, curse instead of heal. It looked like it said curse. I mean cures, but it's curse instead of heal. Although
Mhm.
both men and women can become skinwalkers, men are the most commonly initiated. It is generally thought that only childless women can become witches. Not every witch is a skinwalker, but every skinwalker is a witch.
Yes. Just to say, when I was looking for graphics for the episode tonight, I had a very hard time finding images that I felt would work for the episode of a male. Um, you know, so I did have to go with a female. But yeah, very interesting trying to look up Native American photos through stock photos. But I digress. In some stories, people who have attained the highest rank are called Klitsyati, which means pure evil. This can be achieved by killing a close blood relative or taking upon other taboo and evil acts. Upon completing one or more of these acts, this is said to destroy their humanity and allow them to become fully initiated in the way of witchery. Now, although a skinwalker is most frequently seen as a coyote, a wolf, a fox, eagle, owl, or crow, it is said to have the power to assume the form of any animal that they choose. A decision based on what specific ability, the tongue, sorry, the joys of tongue. A decision based on what specific abilities are needed. For example, a skinwalker may use a bird form for expedient travel in pursuit, escape, or otherwise. And some Navajo also believe that skinwalkers have the ability to steal the face of a person. So always be careful who you're talking to. You don't know if it's really them. Um, they are commonly believed to be the color white in the form of an animal. And this is how many distinguish a skinwalker an animal form, rather than a regular animal. So be wary if you see a white coyote or a white wolf. And if you lock eyes with a skinwalker, it is believed that they can absorb themselves into your body. Alternately, they can absorb them. I'm sorry. Sorry tonight. My brain is not all here. Um, but I digress again. Some Navajos believe that if you make eye contact with a skinwalker, your body will freeze up with fear, and the skinwalker will use that fear to gain power and energy. Skinwalkers, like many other malevolent, always have trouble with that word. Male-
Malevolent?
yes, malevolent legends gain power from a victim's fear. It is said that to say the word out loud can attract them to you, as if you've been marked. To say the name aloud is to invite them to yourself. So maybe we should be careful with this episode.
Maybe. Because many Native Americans dislike the fact that these creatures appear in modern media. Because of the superstition that mentioning them might cause them to hunt the person mentioning them down. This is the same reason why they don't like talking about with non-natives. These creatures are usually very, very hairy in their human form and often wear animal pelts. Some Navajos describe them as the perfect version of the animal in question. The skin may just be a mask, which is the only garment worn in the initiation ritual. Since these creatures are shunned and despised, numerous attempts have been made to hunt and kill one. This is not usually successful, however, Sometimes a creature will be tracked down only to lead to the house of the tracker or someone known to him. As in the European werewolf lore, a human form will keep any injury sustained during an animal form, which sometimes is a good way to find one of these things hiding in your village. It is said that if a Navajo knew the person behind this practitioner, they had to pronounce it by their full name. And about 3 days later, that person would either have to get sick or die from the wrong they have committed. It's also believed that only the way to kill one of these creatures in the animal form was to shoot it in the neck while a bullet dipped in white ash. A knife dipped in white ash may also inflict wounds to these said spirits. Notice I'm actually leaving out with the, because some say that these things have powers to read human thoughts. They also have possess the ability to make any human or animal noise they choose, regardless of their current form. A practitioner may use the voice of a relative or cry of an infant to lure the victims out of safety to their homes, since this cannot enter an inhabited home without invasion, similar to the European legend of vampires.
Yeah, I might have to get some sage to put around the house after this episode, just as a precaution. But it's interesting about the white ash because Mercy and I have been binging the Vampire Diaries again, which is one of my favorite shows.
I never have liked that.
Oh, I love it. But the interesting thing about it is they have what they call the original vampires.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, they became vampires because they were cursed by an original witch. And the only way to kill them is using a stake that was carved out of a white ash tree. Okay. So it's very interesting that they put that in as that's kind of like a Native American lore, and supposedly the originals came here from, well, they were Vikings who traveled here and they lived amongst the Native Americans or close by the Native Americans. Okay. So that's actually very interesting that that's tied in. Sorry, ADD rant.
No problem.
Now it can be they can be spotted and singled out from other people because their eyes glow like animals, and sometimes they glow even more than in human form. In animal form, they can be spotted by moving stiffly and unnaturally or acting strangely. They use spells and charms to instill fear and control in their victims. Some of the tools at their disposal include fragments of human bone launched by blowguns. So those are the ones like they use like you see in the Aborigines and, in other different parts of the world with the natives where they're using that
the
blow dart
kind of warriors and
yes. These bones launched can poison and kill unfortunate victims, and human bone dust can cause paralysis and heart failure. Ooh, goodness.
Yes.
They have also been known to find traces of their victim's hair, wrap it around a pot shard, and place it into a tarantula hole. Ooh, gosh, no. Hate spiders. Oh, no, thank you.
Nope.
They can use anything of personal belonging and use it in ceremonial rituals against the human they are doing evil against. Even live rattlesnakes are known to be used as charms. They use a powder called corpse dust, also known as corpse poison or corpse powder, to poison their victims. It is composed of, oh my goodness. It is composed of ground infant bones, often twin infants, specifically bones from the fingertips and the back of the skull. Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
They will blow it into the faces of their victims or down the chimney of a victim's home. Soon after the victim breathes the dust, the tongue starts to swell and blacken, and they undergo convulsions and die not long after. For Navajo people, witchcraft isn't just a part of their spirituality and one of the ways of their lives. I'm sorry, is just a way of life, yes. As such, witchcraft has long been part of their culture, history, and traditions. These witches exist alongside humans and are not supernaturals.
Yes.
Another type of the witches that they have are the shamans, which do the healing and foretelling for the tribe. Um, so I guess that would be like the counter of these other witches would be the shamans in the tribe.
Hmm. Now, the Navajo believes that these places where the powers of both good and evil are present, that those powers can be harnessed for either. Medicine men, again, utilize these powers to heal and to aid members of the communities, while those who practice the Navajo witchcraft seek to direct spiritual forces to cause harm or misfortune to others. This type of Navajo witchcraft is known as the witchery way, which uses human corpses in various ways, such as tools from the bones and concoctions that use to either curse, harm, or kill intended victims. Their knowledge of these powers is passed down from the elders throughout the generations. The Navajo are part of a larger culture area that includes the Pueblo, the Apache, Hopi, Ute, and other groups that have their own versions of the Skinwalkers. But each of these include a magnificent witch capable of transforming itself into an animal. Among these tribes, numerous stories and descriptions have been told throughout the years about these such named creatures. The evil society of witches gather in dark caves or secluded places for several purposes to initiate new members, plot their activities, harm people from a distance with their black magic, and perform dark ceremonial rites. These ceremonies are similar to other tribal affairs, including dancing, feasts, rituals, and sand painting, but were corrupted with dark concoctions. The evildoers also said to engage in necrophilia with female corpses, commit cannibalism, incest, and grave robberies. During these gatherings, the shapeshifters shift into their animal forms or go about naked, wearing only a bead of jewelry and ceremonial paint. The leader of these such witchery way is usually an old man who is very powerful and a long-lived creature. Those who have talked of their encounter with these evil beings describe a number of ways. Know if one is near. They make sounds around homes, such as knocking on windows, banging on walls, and scraping noise on the roof. On some occasions, they've been spied peering through windows. Most often, they appear in front of vehicles in hopes of causing a serious accident.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's some creepy stuff.
Creepy, creepy, creepy.
Yes. Now it is said that in addition to being able to shift, the skinwalker is also able to control the creatures of the night, such as wolves, owls, to make to do their building.
Bidding.
Ah, yes. Creatures of the night. Such music they make.
And
Sorry.
such a mess they make.
Yes. So,
Remember, Vlad, I will be the light on for you. Sleep, have a good time. Remember, 5 a.m. You home. Yeah?
okay, getting a little off topic. That's for another episode. It is said that in addition to not being, I'm sorry, it is said that in addition to being able to shapeshift, skinwalkers also are able to control the creatures of the night. Wait, sorry, I went backwards. You made me lose my thoughts.
Okay.
Yes,
5 a.m. Remember.
yes. Because of this, the native people rarely venture out alone. Its supernatural powers are uncanny, and they are said to run faster than a car and have the ability to jump high cliffs. They are extremely fast and agile, impossible to catch, and leave tracks that are larger than those of any normal animal. When they have been seen, they have been described as not quite human, but not fully animal. They are usually naked, but there have been reports of the creature wearing either tattered shorts or jeans. Now, these witches either kill out of greed, anger, envy, spite, or even revenge. They also rob graves for personal wealth and collect much needed ingredients in use for their black magic. They live on the unexpired lives of the victims, so they must continually kill or perish themselves. Numerous people have told stories of swift animals running alongside their vehicles and matching their speed. After a short period, they seem to run off into the wilderness. Along the way, these animals sometimes turn into a man, and they will sometimes bang on the hood of the car.
They'll bang on a hood of a hot car. Yes.
Can you imagine that? You're just driving along, minding your own business. Next thing you know, you see this wolf keeping up with you. You stop at a red light, the wolf turns into a man and starts beating on your car.
Yeah.
I would
Another story.
definitely putting that car in reverse and getting the heck out of there.
Yeah, another story tells of a man who's making repairs on an old ranch home when he begins to hear loud laughter coming from a nearby sheep pen. Thinking he was alone, he went to investigate and found all of his sheep but one huddled in one corner of the pen. However, there was a long ram separating from the group that was standing upright and laughing in a very human manner. After the man locks eyes with the ram, he sees that their eyes are not of an animal, but look very human-like. The animal then casually walked away on all four legs. Some say they have seen him running through the night, sometimes turning into a fiery ball, leaving streaks of color behind. Others have seen angry-looking humanoid fingers looking down on him from cliffs, mountains, or a mesa. In the 1980s, one notable event occurred when a family was driving through the Navajo reservation. As they slowed down to make a sharp curve, something jumped up from the ditch. It was described as black and hairy and wore a shirt and pants. A few days after the event at their home in Flagstaff, Arizona, the family was awakened by the accounts of a loud drumming and chanting. Outside their home, these dark forms of men outside their fence. However, these shadowy creatures only seemingly unable to climb the fence and soon left.
Interesting.
Yeah, just
Now,
a little bit of hair in my mouth.
need to shave that beard off?
No, I think I probably need to shave the tongue.
Okay. Now, Skinwalker Ranch. This is also known as Sherman Ranch, and it is a property of approximately 512 acres. It is located southeast of Ballard, Utah, that is reputed to be the site of paranormal and UFO related activities. According to the official Skinwalker Ranch Insider, several odd things have been documented throughout the years. These include, back in the 1700s, early Spanish explorers following a trade route through the Unita Basin told stories of strange crafts flying above their campfires at night. Again in 1906, strange underground rumblings and explosions by soldiers stationed at Fort Duchesne told stories of strange sounds reported again not only in 1906 but also 1911. The fort closed the following year, and the sounds were never explained. This is 2 miles away from Skinwalker Ranch. Christopher Locke, who is the grandson to Benton Locke, recalls a noteworthy occurrence of strange visitors to the property. The stranger arrived out of nowhere and was wearing time period appropriate clothing. However, underneath it was a dazzling blue one piece outfit. He asked for water and had a lengthy conversation with the family. He then walked off and disappeared. The assumption is that this figure told the family where not to dig on the property. This story was so amazing, apparently, that it was passed down to future generations, or from the past owner to the new owner. In 1930, Christopher Locke reports of the first cattle mutilations. And in 1944, a large silver globe like object was seen flying over the Fort Duchesne. It was seen by many in the area and reported by the local paper. So, yes, it has been happening since bless you. It has been happening supposedly since the 1970s. But I want to take a moment and talk about how they say about not to dig in the area, because it's been reported that if you dig in this area, you will fall ill and possibly die. Now, I personally believe, because I think, didn't you say in another episode when we talked about the movie curses, that there was a John Wayne movie that was filmed in this area and everybody ended up getting cancer because there was some kind of nuclear thing going on not too far?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So my belief, and there has been talked about, different things of this type in the area. So I think that there is still some radiation or something nuclear in the ground, that this is what's causing people to get sick when they dig in this area, is the radiation and nuclear that's left over from past things that our government has done. But that's just my thoughts. I could be wrong, but that seems pretty likely to me. But continue.
No, just basically, if you know, in 1967, during the wave, the UFO Project Blue Book, blue things, a wave of UFO sightings were reported in the Ballard area. These sightings included until 1968. In 1970, many unexplained cattle mutilations sightings became so commonplace that by 1970s, local police forces had stopped filling out incident reports. In 78, the Deseret Article News reported a mass sighting of UFOs 10 miles from the ranch. In 81, NASA built an observatory 16 miles from the ranch. Things got even weirder in 1994 when Terry and Gwen Sherman purchased the ranch after it laid empty for past 7 years. During the next 2 years, the Sherman family were plagued by paranormal activity, which quite literally drove them from the property. Everything and anything occurred on the ranch, from crop circles and poltergeist activities to cow mutilations and the sightings. Not a day seemed to go by without something out of the ordinary taking place. The Shermans would often hear a disembodied voice speaking directly above them on many occasions. The night sky would randomly light up. Cows quite literally disappeared. The hoof marks coming to an end in the snow, and no sign of the creatures anywhere to be seen. A few weeks later, when Gwen Sherman was in her car, she encountered a wolf, woof,
Woof.
that,
A
woof,
wolf going woof.
that was so large its back was parallel with the top of her window. The large wolf was accompanied by a dog-like animal that she couldn't identify.
Yes, you know why the aliens like to abduct the cows, right?
Best place to find the milk is with the cows.
No, they're the only intelligent life form on Earth.
Ah,
Don't you remember in South Park when the aliens were coming and abducting all the cows?
no, I don't remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, one night, the Sherman's cattle came under attack by what looked like a large wolf. Several shots were fired into the creature, and it eventually slunk away into the night, seemingly unharmed and no signs of blood trails. I think that they missed. I think when they were shooting, they missed him, and the sound of the firing scared him away, and maybe that's why he there was no blood because they didn't actually shoot it. They were just shooting around it, but missed actually hitting him.
Maybe.
Um, However, over the next 2 years, the Sherman family, as well as their neighbors, reported seeing a number of strange animals in the area. These included exotic multicolored birds not native to the area and dark beasts that resembled a Sasquatch. Hmm. Well, the multicolored birds could be, the migration of the birds.
Hmm.
Sasquatch, again, will be another episode. However, on one occasion, the Sherman saw a strange hyena like creature attacking one of the horses. This they described as low to the ground, heavily muscled, weighing about 200 pounds, with curly red hair and a bushy tail. As Mr. Sherman approached the animal, it vanished before his eyes. Afterward, they checked the horse and found numerous claw marks on its legs. A few months later, a neighbor reported seeing a similar beast running across their property. UFO sightings were commonplace for the Shermans, and sometimes they turned deadly. Flying, glowing blue orbs were spotted throughout the property, and on one occasion, Terry Sherman encouraged his dogs to chase the object. After disappearing into the undergrowth, audible yelps were heard, and the dogs never returned. When he inspected the area, Terry found scorched earth and strange greasy blobs. He presumed these to be the charred remains of his beloved pets. Oh.
Yes. In 1996, the Shermans decided to up and leave, but before they did, they spoke with local media outlets telling them the story of what was going on at the ranch. And it wasn't long before it caught the attention of Las Vegas real estate magnate and aerospace engineer Robert Bigelow. Robert Bigelow purchased the ranch for a reported fee of $200,000.
Wow, that's a killing.
Yes,
512 acres for 200,000. Can you imagine what that would go for today? That would be more like $2 million.
yes. Bigelow had recently founded the National Institute for Discovery Science, or NIDS, a privately financed research organization dedicated to the scientific study of paranormal phenomena. Do 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 do. Phenomena. Do do
Phenomena.
do
Dun,
do
dun,
do
dun,
do do
dun.
do. After purchasing the ranch, Bigelow and his NIDS got straight to work, bringing in high tech equipment and setting up a 24-hour surveillance on the property with high tech sensing equipment, PhD level field investigators, scientists, and a security detail which guarded the property 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of that year. The investigators were tasked with collecting evidence, interviewing witnesses, and searching for those explanations. One noted incident, biochemist Colm Kessler spotted the creature spying on him from a nearby tree approximately 50 yards away. After Kessler fired a shot off at the beast, it quickly disappeared. Inspecting where it once stood, Kelsner discovered deep tracks in the snow of around 6 inches in diameter that strangely included claw marks as if it being a bird of prey. With little apparent success, the National Institute of Discovery Science was disbanded in 2004. However, everybody, the organization was quickly replaced by Bigelow's Aerospace Advanced Space Studies, which was basically BAS.
Bass.
BAS! Which was more of a secret and apparently working towards having a government sponsor. In 2007, Bigelow basically, with the Secret Investigation, did the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, AA tip. It was funded by the United States Defense Department to study unidentified flying objects, primarily on the former Bigelow Ranch.
Okay. One of our viewers posted that in 2012, the ranch sold again for 4.5 million.
Yes, we haven't got there yet.
Well, I'm just showing what they said, which is very interesting because that was in 2012, and the way that the market has grown since then, I can just imagine what it would sell for today.
Yes, we do actually have it in your notes coming right up.
Okay. In the next several years, 22 million were spent on the program, and it investigated reports of identified flying objects. It was also run by a military intelligence official. Today, parts of the study remain classified, and the Department of Defense has never officially acknowledged any reports of these sightings or of the program. But it does admit that the program was shut down in 2012. That year, BAS, or Bigelow's Aerospace Advanced Space Studies, lost its funding from the Department of Defense, as the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program contract expired and was not renewed. And again, the ranch was sold for the rumored amount of, as mentioned before by one of our viewers, 4.5 million. And in 2016, it was sold again to Adamantium Holdings. Bigelow's company then disbanded its security team, and it was quickly replaced by the new owners. That same year, the Hicken Ranch Road, which is a Uintah County public road which bisected the ranch, was illegally gated. Later that year, a representative of the ranch owner, Adamantium Real Estate, approached the county for road vacation, claiming rampant trespassing issues that led the owners to make the road private. The request was granted, and there is no access to the property today. And gates block the entrance with large warning signs. In 2018, the Real Estate LLC was issued a trademark for the name Skinwalker Ranch as we now know it today.
Now, the Navajo people believe that there are portals that the creatures enter and travel from dimensions. One of these portals is the Upper Antelope Canyon on Navajo land in Arizona. The canyon is winding, deep, and narrow. It is a beautiful with a vicious habit of flooding during flash storms. In 2010, during a flash flood, a group that was able to get to safety, but it was stranded until the waters abated. And in 1997, almost a full dozen hikers were killed there in flash floods. The canyon is 660 feet long and is about 120 feet high. It is twisting, and in spots that rocks at the top is almost completely closed. If it floods, you'll be bashed along the narrow passage. Which is more dangerous, the floods or the portal, or chances that meeting a walker in these light patterns, or tight pathways? The difference between a werewolf and one of these creatures is that a werewolf doesn't choose to become a werewolf. He is attacked and infected with a curse. He is a victim that has a carnivorous impulses because of his attack. A skinwalker chooses to become one. There are several steps that need to be taken, and said earlier, a taboo must be broken to make the spirit of the person evil.
Yes. And another difference is a werewolf can only turn into a wolf, where a skinwalker can actually turn into any creature it chooses, or even take on the visage of a person that you know. Now, power and revenge fuel their murderous intent, but such things cannot occupy the brain of a rational creature all the time. And skinwalkers who do not make murder part of their daily routine. Legends of skinwalkers rarely include death or any kind of mauling. Instead, common stories include skinwalkers in their animal form, just running alongside a vehicle, matching their speed, even as the driver accelerates. Eventually, they do get bored with this routine and simply disappear into the surrounding wilderness. In some respects, it seems rather playful, kind of like a dog that chases a car on a passing street. In other instances, people report seeing or hearing skinwalkers outside their homes at night. Rarely, however, does it enter their dwelling. They have been reported by native and non native people. One suspected killing by a skinwalker happened back in 1987 in Flagstaff, Arizona. This happened behind the Flagstaff Medical Center, and the body of a Navajo woman was found nude, beaten, and had suffered numerous fatal stab wounds in her upper torso. Her left bosom appeared to have been bitten off, and the bruises on her face were so severe that she was barely recognizable.
The woman, later identified as Sarah Saganaro, had been a housekeeper for the hospital for 17 years. It was her first time working the night shift the weekend she turned up missing. Her car parked near the east wing of the hospital, but her body was found on the rocky hillside to the west. Sarah was from a large family, and her sister Mavis also worked at the hospital in the food services. Mavis was one of the group that discovered Sarah's body. The police found themselves with a frightened community. The brutalized corpse of a native woman with no clear suspects. While questioning people of interest, it came upon the police's attention of a man to have claimed to have information about the murder. George Abney was a former English professor in northern Arizona
University.
University. Yes, I know. He was arrested and charged for the murder. Abney claimed he was having bizarre dreams about the murder, which he told friends about. Abney was described by friends and former students as quiet, intelligent, and God-fearing. Some described him as strange in that he would predict what was going to happen to them, and then turn out to be right about their future. He had talked to friends about the dreams that had come true. None of the people that talked to police or reporters believed he was responsible for the murder. It was believed, that Abney was being railroaded by the police because they needed to arrest somebody to clear the name. This was a quote reported back to I'm sorry, not the Florida, the Flagstaff newspaper.
Yeah, sounds like he was more of a psychic than a psycho.
Yeah, it was like, I don't think he was worth anything like a Robin or a Gabby Hayes.
Okay.
You know, sidekick as opposed to a psychic.
Uh huh.
Yeah, huh?
Obscure boy strikes again.
Yes, I know.
Two of Abney's friends told police they were with him at the time of the murder. The police told them that they were lying to protect their friend. Police told them that Abney confessed to the crime. People suspected that confession was either a mistake or that it never really happened. The police were publicly accused of being headhunters and hounds. He was assigned a public lawyer named Don Bales in an article from the Arizona Daily News. The defense argued that a skinwalker had killed Sarah based on the fact that she was Navajo and she had animal hair in her mouth and on her body, and found with a broken stick across her throat, which was believed to be a scepter. Also, a clump of graveyard grass was found near her truck. The defense claimed these objects were evidence of a Skinwalker ritual. The article further reads that a rock was found near the body with animal blood on it. The defense called Navajo medicine man William King of Tuba City and Utah State folklore professor Bear Tolkien. Wonder if he's any kin. Interesting. To our favorite Tolkien.
I doubt it.
These, like, you never know. I mean, it's not a very common name.
No, but
Yes. These two were called to testify about alleged Navajo witchcraft involved in this murder. John Thompson was the prosecutor, and he claimed this was a crime of flesh and blood, not evil spirits or superstition. He further stated that the scepter placed on Sarah's neck was only a stick. He told the jury that Tolkien is a folklorist, and he won't tell you anything about science or history. He will just tell you his stories.
So, Abney was found guilty, but then acquitted a year later. Means they had no other suspects, and the case remains unsolved to this day. So, are they real? Real? Who can say? In many respects, the tales is that, like UFO sightings, too bizarre to picture being true, while being too numerous to dismiss. Regardless, the tale of the legend is prevalent and meaningful to the native people. It is rooted in their history, tradition, lores, and stories. And like many other things that we don't always understand about different cultures, it does command our respect.
Yes, and as one of our Facebook users did mention, a stick can be a wand. Usually with Native American traditions and Wiccan traditions, or anything that has to do with magic, a lot of it is based in nature. So it could be possible that a stick could be used for a scepter or a wand or a staff, whatever you want to call it. Yes, it's natural. It is a natural item that it can be imbued with energy, they say. So this pretty much concludes our little lesson on the Skinwalkers for this week. What are your thoughts on them? Do you think they're real? Do you think they're folklore? Do you think they're just stories that were made up? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts on that, I firmly believe that it is something that dark and foreboding.
Yes, I definitely do believe the Native American people are very spiritualistic. I, as mentioned before, have a lot of great respect for them. We do have a Native American shaman in our ancestry. So I definitely believe that this could exist. A lot of our viewers also are mentioning that they think that they are real. And all I can say is if you are out in the Indian Territory alone, please be careful.
Be honorable
Yes,
and
honor.
respectful.
Yes, and don't try to draw attention to things that you don't want to attract.
Yes.
Yes. Next week we will be talking about ghost hunting,
Woohoo!
and we will be talking about the do's and don'ts of ghost hunting.
Naughty,
So that
naughty. And yeah,
yes, that'll be a good topic. I personally have always wanted to go ghost hunting. I've never found anyone to go ghost hunting with, but it's something that I've
wait,
always
wait,
had.
wait, 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 wait. You got to take that back.
I got to take that back. How?
Yes, you went ghost hunting with Mercy on your
No, we didn't go ghost hunting. We went on a ghost tour. There's a
Yes,
difference.
but you had an EVP monitor, and you actually got so that's a ghost hunt.
We did go on a ghost tour in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Basically downtown. They took us around and told us about all these haunted places in San Antonio. They did give us EVP detectors to see if anybody were to catch anything. The only one who caught anything the whole night was Mercy. As we were crossing the street, his detector did go off. We went back and tried to recreate it and see if we could get it to go off again, and nobody could ever get it to go off again. So I don't know if Mercy caught anything or what happened. Um, but yes, I did get to use an EVP once on a ghost tour, but I want to go on an actual ghost hunt sometime. So we will be talking next week about ghost hunting and the do's and don'ts,
What equipment you should bring if you are looking at it,
how you can protect yourself,
and
how not to bring anything home with you.
right, you can go from the cheap version or the all out expensive tools as well.
Yes, I agree with Raymond. I want to go ghost hunting also with somebody who knows what they're doing. I've been trying to get together with some of the paranormal groups in my area to see if that might be possible, but they haven't been returning my messages. So I don't think they want to grow. I don't even know if they're actually doing ghost hunts anymore, if it's just has passed on. But I would love to go on one sometime with people who know what they're doing. So we will be talking about.
Oh, I want to do ghost hunting. Yeah, I want to hunt those ghosts now. I want to ghost hunt with somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yes.
Don't you want to ghost? Don't you want to ghost? Oh, don't you want
Uh,
to ghost? Hunt
I
with
think
me.
he's been possessed by the ghost of Whitney Houston while we're at it. Yes, Jackie's
Yes,
always up for paranormal investigations.
yes, I can do that.
Not a popular place, but a less known place. Which place
Yes.
is that? But yes, so next week we will be talking about the do's and don'ts of ghost hunting and equipment used in ghost hunting. Um,
Right.
and yes, I do also enjoy watching shows like Ghost Hunters and different ones like that. But again, if you are watching us on YouTube, we ask that you like and subscribe and click the notifications so you know when we have new videos. If you're watching us on Facebook, we ask that you join our Facebook group, The Skeptic Psychic. It's a great place to meet like minded people who enjoy ghost stories. Again, you don't have to believe, just be respectful when you join up. Become a member of our,
Remember our what?
what do we call our followers in ghosts in our
Well,
ghosts in our
I
group?
kind of prefer pod people, but the wife's like, that sounds too dim. Now,
Hey, but we've had a lot of our listeners who like pod people,
yes,
so I mean, if you think we should call it something else, let us know. But I like pod people. Others have said they like it. Um, and because this is a podcast. We'll see you next week, Raymond. Thank you for joining us. And again, if you are watching us live, join our Facebook group. If you'd like to send us any stories that you'd like to share on the podcast or any ideas for new podcasts, if you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, you can
join
email us.
us. Be the ghost we're looking for. Because we always.
Yes.
Wilbur, don't you remember me? I'm the ghost of Christmas, but never.
Yes, you can email us at info@skeptic psychic, and you can share your stories that we could read on air. You can also send us questions that you would like answered. If you want to be a guest on the show, definitely email us. You can also check out our website while you're there, info at theskepticpsychic.com. We do have a blog as well as some other videos posted there. And if you're watching a replay, or I'm sorry, if you're listening to the replay on podcast, we ask that you rate and review us through Apple Podcast and Spotify. How many ratings do we like?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Earth below me turning slowly. We like 5 stars.
Yes, we do like 5, but we'll take anything you give us. Again, please leave a review as we will read the reviews on air. I also want to thank Shelley, our wonderful, Shelley Priest, our wonderful researcher. She got us some great information this week, and we're always grateful for her taking the time to help us out with researching for our episodes. And is there anything I missed this week? Anything I forgot to mention?
Okay.
Did I forget anything?
Don't think we forgot anything. Can anybody else think of when we've missed anything?
Yes. Well, I think all we have left to say is good night, everybody, and sweet dreams.
And unpleasant nightmares.
We love you and have a great night, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye bye.